off to the races. Now, I know I'm going to regret saying this, probably sooner rather than later, but it seems like nothing can stop this stock market right now. Investors are buying up shares thanks in part to solid earnings and the prospect for big tax cuts. All three major indexes pushed further into record territory today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average advanced 142 points to 20,412. NASDAQ was up 29, and the S&P 500 added 12. But that's not all. The S&P 500 today reached $20 trillion in market value for the first time ever. $20 trillion. That's up from about $6 trillion at the low in 2009. The most valuable company is Apple. It saw its market cap top $700 billion. It's followed by Alphabet, Microsoft, Berkshire Hathaway, and Amazon. Bob Pisani has more on today's action from the New York Stock Exchange.
The major indices opened at record highs yet again this morning, with cyclicals like financials, industrials, tech, and materials all leading. The Dow Industrials have moved about 320 points, or more than 1.5% since Thursday morning, when President Trump said he would have more news on a tax cut in the next few weeks. Wow. The S&P 500, which is the main index watched by professionals, topped $20 trillion in value for the first time this morning. The biggest stocks, they really are getting bigger. Now, why is that? Well, partly it's the triumph of indexing, because it's easy to push money into indexes, and the S&P 500 is the most well-known index. The big just keep getting bigger and bigger all the time. Apple once again passed a market value of $700 billion this morning, a value it first hit, by the way, in 2014. Now, to put that in perspective, that's about 3.5% of the value of the entire S&P 500, 500 stocks, and one of them is 3.5% for one stock. Now, if the S&P 500 was weighted equally among all 500 stocks, Apple would only be 0.2% of the index, not 3.5%. Okay, so what could go wrong with all this bullishness? The markets are pricing in a global economic recovery, as well as President Trump accomplishing his economic goals of lower taxes, less regulation, and an infrastructure spending program. That's a tall order. But for the moment, the market is giving the bulls the benefit of the doubt. For Nightly Business Report, I'm Bob Pisani at the New York Stock Exchange.